Welcome to the Julie Laughton Living Podcast, the place to get advice, tips, and tricks to building the life and luxury home of your dreams with 30-year business owner, designer, and builder, Julie Laughton. It all starts with a good plan. This is Julie Laughton Living.
Welcome to the Julie Laughton Living Podcast. So glad to have you back. Today we're going to talk about the cost of a remodel versus new construction. And before we get started, I wanted to remind you, please check out my website for the Julie Laughton 7 Simple Steps to a 5-Star Experience, where you'll learn a lot about how this whole process works. And hopefully this will all save you time and money and help you be a little more educated before you dive in to this wonderful process. Okay, so when you talk about the cost of construction, everybody always wants to know day one, should I just tear this house down and start over? Or should I keep it and remodel it? And there's a lot of factors into that first decision that go into the cost. Some people save homes that aren't worth saving. And there's several reasons you're not going to save a home. And that's because it's completely the wrong size on the lot, the foundations are too small, and it's rotted or molded. There's all these factors. So if the home is literally a tear down condition, you kind of know that day one, and then, go ahead, scrape it and build from scratch. But the majority of my clients have homes that are in great condition, were built before the war in the 20s and 30s. And then some of them are built in the 60s, 70s, which is a little less quality. But the point is, most of the homes I work on have the quality there and the bones, so it's easier to save them and more cost effective to save them, because building ground up is a whole nother price, which is double than remodel price. But of course you get what you want, but remodeling usually in most cases is the better way to go money wise. Okay, so the cost range on a remodel is determined on what are we doing. So if you're just going to remodel the inside, a total gut, all new kitchens, bathrooms, flooring, doors, interior doors, doorknobs, flooring, that range is like $200 a square foot, but it can easily jump to $350 if you move all the walls, change all the windows. And then if you go into an addition, then you talk about new construction price for the addition, but the remodel costs vary, but from $200 to $350, depending on what you're doing. So the construction costs in a ground up home, if you just take the basic cost, $450 a square foot, but that's the basic cost if you're building on flat dirt, let's say. Then you got to talk about, okay, what about if I'm building on the sand? What if I'm building on a hillside? So the cost of construction is $450, $650, $850. Those numbers range depending on where you're building. And if it's an extreme condition on a hillside and the geotechnical reports are tough, you can get up to $800, to $1,000 a square foot. But then you have to look at, what's a home value is, because in Newport Beach, homes sell for $1,200 to $1,500 a square foot. So that's different than anywhere else in the country. So the construction build cost depends on what you're building and where you're building it. And then the house could be all stucco, which is one price, or if the house is all board and batten or siding, and if it's hardy siding, then those costs to finish it are triple compared to stucco. So there's many factors that go into the end product cost per square foot, including the type of roof, the copper gutters, and the siding. For example, those homes cost more than just stucco homes. So with asphalt roofs. So there's a lot of factors, but that's kind of the price range. I always say remodels are like having a baby. It's 9 months. and then I say new construction is 12 months, because you got 9 months to remodel and 3 months for the foundation and outside. But in reality, a remodel could easily be a year, depending on the size of the home. And the little ones could be 6 months, just so you know, if they're strictly interior. But you could say in reality, worst case, a remodel is 12 months. Worst case, a new construction is 18 months. But usually I start with 12 to 15 months on ground up, but it depends on how much exterior landscape and hardscape has to be done. So it's the difference between a year and 18 months technically. And the worst case is, you could go 6 months to 2 years, and then you get these massive, huge homes, 10,000 square feet and up. They could be 3 years to 5 years. So there's a whole thing about the timing, depending on how big the homes are. But average homeowners, the remodels are 6 to 9 months, and the new construction is 12 to 15 months. Well, people don't like to hear the truth and the reality because no one's told them that before. So I noticed that maybe some of my clients have been told different things by other people so they can just get the job. And then, of course, if they go with those people, it ends up costing the same as what I told them because the other people do change orders. They just get in low and then they do change orders. So I like to tell people what it's really going to cost and how long it's really going to take. And usually I get this look like, oh my God. But if you tell them the reality and then you explain why, because it's not only what we have to do, it's the weather, it's the city, it's just the inspection requests that could be insane. So there's all these other factors we can't control. I know exactly how long it takes me to build something, but I can't control the weather, the city, and the client making change orders because, I know what I can do and when and how fast I can do. And that's what I'm good at. But I can't control the unknowns. So that's and you got to factor those in. And, you never know what happens, especially if people start changing their mind after we start construction. So the biggest value of keeping your home and not moving is, hey, your neighborhood, your neighbors, you're used to living there. You've invested in your home. You've invested time and money into it. And it's a good value and it's appreciated probably since you've purchased it. So those are the best reasons to keep your home and stay put and remodel. And it's, like I said, some people just say, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to move. I need a different lifestyle. I need a different location. And that's great. But in the majority of cases, it's not only cheaper, more convenient, but better for you if you keep your home and remodel it. So and overall, when you remodel, it's anywhere from $200 to $350 a square foot. And when you do new construction, it's $450 to $650 to start, depending on where you're located and if it's a hillside and how fancy the house is. So the differences are big, in value, but it just depends on what you want. And if you're planning on moving and starting ground up or just tearing it down. So there's a lot of factors, but it's always more economical to remodel. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Julie Laughton Living. I hope you've enjoyed everything I was talking about. And for more information, check out my other podcast. You can find them on my YouTube channel. And also don't forget to check out my 7 Simple Steps to a 5-Star Experience, which is also on my website. 1 click away for a free course to save you time and money and help you be a little more educated about how this process works. And also see my social media links below. Also, we're right in the middle of the holiday season beginning. And then, of course, we roll right into Thanksgiving and Christmas. And before you know it, it's the new year. Woohoo! So here we go. Happy holiday season to everyone. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Julie Laughton Living. For more information or to connect with Julie one-on-one, visit julielaughtonliving.com. And don't forget, it all starts with a good plan.